Welcome to the Vermont School Boards Association Online Academy. My name is Winton Goodrich. I'm the Associate Director at VSBA, and today's topic is preparing for negotiations. This is one of the five standards that we lay out for school boards, the role that the school board should perform, and it's called the structural standard. As we move into the negotiations process, we're going to be focusing on just basic elements today. The first thing that the board should do is solicit feedback from the administrators on how well the last negotiated contract worked. And some of the indicators would be, were there a lot of grievances in a particular area? Was it extremely difficult for the principals to do certain kinds of things that were negotiated? And again, that's why you want to seek that feedback and make those changes and adapt the next negotiations contract so that it smooths out those rough edges. You'll also want to consider regional economic factors, and to do so, there are a number of websites that you would be able to secure this kind of information from. Your business manager should do that work for you. Another good strategy would be to visit the Vermont School Boards Association website, the negotiations website. We have a user ID and a password that you'll need to know in advance, so just communicate to our office. We'll get that to you, and again, you'll see a lot of data there that will help you in this process. Decide who's going to be on your negotiations team. Are you going to have an attorney lead it? Will your school board chair be in charge? Will you empower your superintendent to negotiate on behalf of the board? A very important next step will be to establish board priorities. And what we mean by this is target increases in a particular area. 40% of your teachers will be retiring within the next 5 years. So you're going to have a substantial change in the demographics and the dynamics of your teaching pool. So what you may want to do is to attract new teachers is to prioritize more money, in other words, increase the salaries of new teachers as opposed to the mid-level or more experienced teachers. Maybe a cash in lieu of insurance around health care. In other words, paying a teacher $2,000 to $3,000 to not take health insurance that would cost the district $12,000 to $16,000 if you had to purchase that full family plan. Again, you're going to have to make sure that all your employees, at least your teacher employees, are receiving health insurance somewhere. You can't just buy them out, so to say. Some districts have incentives for teachers who take additional professional development or serve on committees. In other words, some incentive for them to participate in additional coursework. Salaries and benefits at the absolute foundation of negotiations and 75% of your overall budget. Many times board members make the mistake at town meeting to say to the voters, we have no control over 75% of the budget because it's negotiated. Well, now's your time to play that important role and to control to the best of your ability the increases and the way that the negotiations are completed, so that you can say to your voters, we did the best job we can, here are the priorities, and so on and so forth. It's important that you understand that your teachers negotiate under different laws than your staff do. Deciding your budget, deciding your new money, somehow you're going to have to create an assumption here on how much increase you think you should put into the ensuing year's budget to be able to handle the negotiations process. And you're going to have to do some speculation with administrator recommendation on should it be 4.5%, 5%, what do you think the new money, what it might take to be able to settle the negotiations. Team then meets with the bargaining unit and you establish ground rules. You decide what are the topics that are going to be negotiated. Agency fee is one of those. And we won't go into that today. That'll be in a more advanced presentation. But just understand that if you, the board, and the teachers' bargaining unit were to agree on an agency fee, what you're going to do is impose on teachers who may not be members of the union that they have to become a member of the union, or at least to 80% of the full union dues. And with that, you would want to make sure, if that ever did take place, that that's such a big bargaining chip and could create a whole lot of hostility with teachers who don't choose to be members of the union. You would want to make sure that you get a very big bang for that buck if you agree to an agency fee. Starting July 1, 2008, all new negotiations will have to be done as a supervisory union in 46 of the 60 governance entities in Vermont. And what that means is, even if you negotiated as a local district in the past, you're going to, in the future, have to negotiate as a supervisory union bargaining unit. So all the boards need to come together and decide what those priorities are going to be. Be prepared for a very long, drawn-out process. Negotiations often take a year, many times multiple years to get done. Often school districts will start the next school year without the negotiations having been completed. And your teachers will then be paid only on the last year's salary range, but when the negotiations are finalized, then all salaries are increased retroactively. There are a lot of union tactics that the board will have to endure. It may come to the board imposing finality. What that means is, at the end of the negotiations, the board does have the prerogative to say, negotiations are over, this is all we're going to pay, but the teachers, on the other hand, have the ability to strike. So that's not a win-win situation. It's not a good thing to be doing. One of the other strategies in negotiations would be to do collaborative negotiations, and that's going to be a topic for another presentation. Finally, we have additional resources here that are not on the website, and that is a list of arbitrators and mediators. These are professional people who come in and assist you in fact-finding, arbitration, and mediation, and it's outlined in the state laws that govern how negotiations processes go. In summary, we're preparing for negotiations. You should solicit administrator feedback, look at economic factors, decide who's going to be on the team. Is it going to be headed up by an attorney, by the school board chair, or the superintendent? Establish priorities. Focus on how much new money you might put into the system. Decide on the ground rules. Negotiate as a supervisory union, and be prepared for a very long haul and a very difficult and arduous task, but a critically important one. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck in your collective bargaining process.